There we go. Okay. All right. One more thing before we get started.
Okay. Yay for multitasking, Pops. Good to hear you doing good, Sean.
I'll be back. But there's the iPad. Hey,
How is everybody else? You can use the chat to say hello if you like, or you can remain quiet if you wish. Let's see here. Oh, look, live.
all righty. So we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining us, coming out of your comfortable homes into virtual land and having fun and getting connected with us. This is crazy times that we live in. Exciting times because there are lots and lots of changes going on. But during these changes, in order to come through this on the other side, healthier and happier and stronger, one of the things that we're going to need to focus on and put a lot of energy and intention into is staying connected. Not only staying connected with ourselves, but staying connected with our community, even though we can't have as much physical contact right now, making sure that we're constantly checking in, that we're constantly doing as many things to stay connected with those that we love and those in our community. Hopefully you love everyone in your community, but that's okay. You don't have to like everybody in your community, but we can all show each other some love. And the most important thing, and this is actually what we're going to be talking about tonight, is going to be showing ourselves some love, staying connected with ourselves. We're going to learn tonight at our class at 6 p.m. You can check that out on our Facebook page, or check out your emails if you're on our email list. And if you're not on our email list, make sure that you drop your email into the chat box, or if you're watching this on Facebook, to send us a private message, and then we'll make sure that we get you on our email list. But tonight's class is going to be all about loving yourself. And why is that so important? And the bottom line is, you cannot give what you do not have. Your ability to love, your ability to be connected, your ability to give to other people is directly tied to your ability to love, be connected, and give to yourself. That is the major limiting factor that many of us have. And this concept of loving ourselves, it's a nice thought, but if we don't know how to put it into action, if we don't know how to actually accomplish it, well, we're just going to end up getting frustrated. And more often than not, we're going to end up tearing ourselves down because we know that we're not accomplishing it. And then we're adding guilt on top of not loving ourselves. And it just becomes this very vicious cycle. And I know this cycle well. And that's one of the reasons that I'm really excited about tonight's class. But for today, we're going to go ahead and move forward in our study of the 12 stages of healing. And again, this is a process that was really not necessarily developed, but much more kind of discovered and mapped out by a chiropractor by the name of Dr. Donnie Epstein. And we did stage 1 the first day. And that's the stage of suffering. That's the stage of just knowing that there's a problem. We don't know what the problem is, and we just know that something's not right, and it just feels awful. Then we moved into day 2 and stage 2. And stage 2 is, we know that something's wrong, and there's got to be a rhyme and a reason for it. There's got to be someone or something to blame. So we're going back and forth between knowing what the problem, knowing that there's a problem, and knowing we got to find the cause of the problem so we can just make it stop. So stage 2 is about the polarity. Stage 2 is about the rhythm. Stage 2 is about the ebb and the flow. And finally, in stage 3, getting pushed and pulled, when we get to stage 3, we come into the center in which we recognize, oh, I'm the one that has the power to change. And if I'm the one that has the power to change, I'm the one that needs to take the responsibility to change. And right now, I am so stuck in this pull, in this push. I am the one that's stuck. I am the one that has to be that has to make the breakthrough. So after we finally move through stage 3 and we've acknowledged our stuckness, we have celebrated our stuckness. I am the most stuck person that has ever lived. We're able to gain enough information, enough energy to move into stage 4. And stage 4 is all about reclaiming our personal power. We can only reclaim our personal power if we have first acknowledged that we are the ones that are keeping ourselves stuck. We are the ones that are replaying the patterns over and over again. We are the ones that are missing action steps, or we are the ones that are doing too much action steps in areas when we're not going to make any progress. So stage 3, that stuckness. Stage 4, reclaiming our power. Stage 4 is all about the ability to change. It must change. It has to change. When does it need to change? It needs to change now. But we don't necessarily need to know exactly what needs to change. Stage 4 is a very powerful, very dynamic stage. If you think of stage 3 as being stuck, stage 4 is like we're wiggling and shaking, we're rattling as much as we possibly can to get ourselves unstuck. It's not always very directed. It's not always very focused on the exact type of change that needs to happen. It's just building the momentum and the fuel so that when we can identify exactly what that change is, we are so ready for change. So stage 4 is all about the change, but many times it can be just changing for the sake of change. And for right now, in this stage, that's perfectly acceptable. Just like we talked about before, the goal in all of this is not to try to get out of a stage. It's not to try to move forward. It's not to try to move away from anything. It's about honoring where we are. If we can honor what is, if we can honor where we are and we can fully be with it, that opens the door for us to dive deep enough into it that we can move through to the other side. Okay, if you go far enough in, you will eventually come out. If you go far enough out, you'll eventually come in. Many of this stuff we don't want to come into. So in order to get out, we have to dive deep, deep, deep into the root, into the center of it. And this is a principle that's actually been established in quantum physics, is that whenever a particle, whenever the tiniest bits of matter are observed, when they're fully observed and focused on, they actually start to change their behavior. And particles that are not even physically connected to them also start to change their behavior. However, if we're not observing that particle, if we are focused on trying to make that particle something or trying to imagine it as something different than what it actually is, we're not actually focusing on it. And because we're not actually focusing on it, it doesn't have as much of a potential to change. So this is the paradox of change, is that we cannot change what we don't value. We cannot change what we're trying to move away from. But when we're fully with something, completely, purely aware and accepting and acknowledging, then whatever it is we're observing, whatever it is, whatever stage that we're in, automatically starts to change. So this is definitely a different paradigm than most of us are used to working in. And the good news is, because it's a different paradigm, we're going to be able to, and it's a different approach, we're going to be able to produce very, very different outcomes. So stage 4 is all about identifying that area, that part of us in that we observe the stuckness in. We felt the stuckness in before, and now we're ready to shake it loose. We're ready to rattle it loose. We're ready to start building up energy. And in that buildup, the first thing that we need to do is we need to make a strong stand. We need to draw that line in the sand and say, enough. No more of what's been happening previous to this. No more am I going to put up with whatever it is that got us into the stuckness in the first place. This is where we draw the line in the sand and say, I don't exactly know what it really needs to change, but I know I will not put up with more of the same. Enough of this. And when now, now, not any time in the future, not any time in the past, not when this happens or that happens, but right here and now. I don't care what kind of change, but I just know it is going to change. It's a decision point much more than an idea or a thought or a plan or an action step. It is just here and now. This will change. After we build up the momentum, when we draw that line in the sand, the next thing to do is to acknowledge fully and completely, I deserve more than what I've been putting up with in the past. I deserve more from myself. I deserve more than from the situations I've put myself in. Okay. I am more. I am ready to be more. And then that last little bit, that last call is to acknowledge that we are more than just individuals. We are all connected in some form or fashion. So claiming that not only do I deserve more, but we deserve more. My family deserves to have more of the real, authentic me. My community deserves to have the version of me that is at a much, much higher functional level than what I've been giving, what I've been showing up as, what I have been able, because of the stuckness, because of not being aware of what's really going on. My community deserves to have more of my authentic gifts. So a lot of us, it's very much of a challenge to do things specifically for ourselves. Some of us have no problem doing that. And hey, that nothing wrong with that. But for others of us, this can be a challenge. And so if you notice that you're one of those people that you have a much easier time doing things for other people than you do for yourself, this last part is going to be super powerful and super important, because we've got to recognize the more authentic we show up, the healthier we are, the stronger, the more whole, the more authentic we are, the more we're going to be able to show up and to give to those around us. All right. So we have to choose to be aware of where we are, and we have to choose to dive deeper into that and stop spinning our wheels trying to get away from reality, trying to get away from what is. And now this is not the saying, like I've said before, this is not giving ourselves permission to wallow in our misery forever. This is just pure, open honesty. All right. So we're going to go through this real quick. We're going to breathe in the nose, out the mouth, fully and completely under the very, very top spot, just like in stage one, but this time we're just checking in all the way in and then letting go, finding that place of peace, that place of ease, that place where you can just totally surrender to the process and your body just almost takes over. Really pay attention to the location, the size, the quality of that place or space of peace, ease, and total surrender. That place can be in the actual breath. It can be in the inhale and the exhale. It can be in the movement. It can be in the expansion and the contraction. It can be in the energy flow, the energy flowing down the front of the body during the inhale, and then relaxing and letting everything go out of the back on the exhale. It doesn't matter, whichever one of those that you can find that place of peace, that place of ease, more comfortably, more easily, more intensely. Stay with whichever strategy that is for you. Now check into this second spot. Again, right over the solar plexus, right at the hard bony end of where the sternum ends and the squishy stomach begins, right at that point, breathing in the nose, full breath, full expansion, full energy flow, letting go, full exhale, full collapse, full relaxation, full energy release, all the way in and all the way out. And again, just checking the quality. How is this area, whenever you tune into this area, when you breathe, when you relax, when you flow in this spot right up underneath your hands, what's the quality What's the size? What's the shape of that space of total and complete letting go and just the process happening? Now we're going to move over to the third spot, which is right over the belly button. I don't need to show you where that is. Everybody knows where the belly button is. And if you don't, definitely give us a call. You need a lot more help. So breathing all the way into the belly button and then letting go, exhaling, melting in, surrendering, paying attention to that place of peace, that place of ease, that place of connection, that place of full surrender. Now at your own pace, go back and forth, very top, middle, belly button, one breath in each one. And while you're doing this, really check in. Be with that place of peace, ease, and connection. Be with that place of surrender. Be with that place of full letting go and relaxation. Which one of these three spots is the easiest for you to totally let go? Which one of these three spots has the largest place of, or space of peace and ease? Which one of these three spots can you feel the energy flow the most intensely and the most peacefully? Identify which one of these three spots is the easiest and the most relaxing, the most connected. And then, or maybe first, identify which one of these three spots is the most challenging. Which one is the one that's the most disruptive, the most uncomfortable, the most challenge to fully let go of, the one that seems to have the most trouble with the full letting go, seems to have the most trouble with the full exhale, seems to have the most trouble with the full relaxation, with the full contraction and collapsing in. Which one is your favorite and most connected? Which one is the most challenging? Go ahead and stay over your favorite for about 3 to 4 full, complete breaths. Really dropping in to that sensation, that place, that space of total surrender, of peace, ease, and letting go. All the way. Now, one breath into that most challenging area, all the way in and all the way out. And move back to your favorite, all the way in and all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. All the way in and full letting go all the way out. Now place one hand over your favorite most connected spot and the other hand over the most challenging or least connected spot. Breathe into the most connected spot fully and let go all the way. Breathe into the least connected spot fully and let go all the way. Let go. Back and forth. Full breath in, full breath out under each one of the spots. Back and forth individually, really feeling the difference. Real quick, stage 2, all the way in, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out. Dropping into that place of peace, that place of ease, that place of connection under each one, although they may be different. And once you've really got a hold of that place of peace and ease under each one, although they're different, now breathe into both spots simultaneously. Fill both spots up like they're fully connected and let go in both spots as if they're fully connected, part of the same whole. All the way into both spots, like the positive, most connected spot is fueling the other spot, like they're sharing resources, like it's going back and forth, and both of them are being fully fed, fully energized, fully expanded, all the way out, letting go, letting go, letting go. Now, take both hands palm over palm and put them directly over the place that was the most challenging. This place, breathe in the nose and out the mouth. This is our inner child. And our inner child is throwing a temper tantrum. It's not bad. It's just hurt. It's just wounded. It just doesn't have everything it needs. It wasn't given all that it deserves in life. And this happens to all of us, whether it's intentional or not intentional. This is a part of life. There's a part of us that has been rejected from the rest. There's a part of us that has been told it's not good enough. There's a part of us that hasn't figured out how to fit in, feels ostracized, it feels alone, it feels left out, it feels judged. For whatever reason, that may have come from us. We may have picked that up from something or someone else. But for whatever reason, really dig into that place of dis-ease, that place that's grumpy, that place that's showing us that there's a part of us that's not fully connected with the whole. And now we're going to increase that sensation of stuckness, of tension, of tightness. You can twist it from the left to the right. You can push on it. You can move it. You can squeeze your body, whatever you got to do, but increase that sensation. Get more stuck, get more stuck, get more stuck. Make the noise of the stuckness. Go. Oh, and let go and let go and let go and let go. And now, stage 3, we're fully ready to be with this part of us. We're fully ready to acknowledge our inner child has not gained everything that it needed to be totally carefree and loving and just enjoy the adventure that life is. Now that we know that we're stuck, now that we can turn the volume up on the stuck, now that we've celebrated how stuck a part of us is, now it's time to get into stage 4 and really energize ourselves so that we can break loose of all that we've done to hold ourselves back, all that we've allowed to continue that has kept us to be stuck. So in this part, we're going to breathe in our nose and out our nose. And we are going to breathe like a raging bull, like we are going to charge through any obstacle that is getting in our way. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. It doesn't need to be fast, but it needs to be intense. It needs to be a courageous sort of breathing. We need to be able to build up that momentum. We need to build up our resolve because we are drawing the line in the sand and we will not put up with the things that we have allowed to continue that have kept our inner child wounded and small and ostracized. We are not going to put up with anything that has kept us from being the most authentic version of ourselves and sharing the gifts that we know those around us need. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. Now take one hand, keep it on that spot of stuckness, that wounded inner child. With the other hand, reach up, plug one nostril, in the nostril, out the nostril, switch. In the other nostril, out the other nostril, switch. In that nostril and out that first nostril, switch. In the second nostril, out the second nostril. It's back and forth, in and out, switch, in and out, switch, in and out, switch. Keep going. Keep building up that energy, keep building up that momentum. You're going to get to a place in which your body starts to feel tingly or numb or starts to feel very, very different, or your mind says, I don't know if I can keep up with this. If you've got a clogged nostril, you will get there very quickly. But we need to get to that point. We need to get to that point and say, and choose to keep plowing ahead, even though things are starting to change, even though it feels something outside of our normal. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, back and forth, in the nose, out the nostril, in the nostril, out the nostril. And on the count of 3, we're going to shout out with intensity, enough of this. 1, 2, 3, go. Enough of this. I will not put up with this anymore. Go. This will not continue. Go. This is where it stops. Draw the line in that sand. And now we're going to build it up even more. And go back to breathing in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, back and forth, plugging up one nostril at a time. In the nostril, out the nostril, in the nostril, out the nostril. We've already built it up, so we're almost already there. Keep going. Keep going. Now we're going to take our power back. So on the count of 3, you're going to repeat after me. I take my power back. Go. 1, 2, 3. I take my authenticity back. Go. I take my choice back. Go. I take my freedom back. Go. I take my freedom. I take my choice. I take my authenticity back. Go. I take back my true self. Go. And now add in whatever it is that you feel that your inner child has been robbed of. Is it your freedom? Is it your joy? Is it your peace? Is it your fun? Is it your carefreeness? On the count of 3, you're going to say, I take back my, and then fill in the blank, whatever the inner child needs. 1, 2, 3, go. I take back my, and last time, breathing in the nose, out the nose, building up that charge. We're almost there. We're almost there. Keep going. In the nostril, out the nostril, 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 in the nostril, out the nostril. Go, 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 go. And then totally let go. Release everything and repeat after me. I deserve more than this. Go. I am more than this. Go. I am ready to be more than this. Go. And now all together, for everyone, for all of humanity, we deserve more than this. Go. We are more than this. Go. We are ready to be more than this. Go. And just relax. Let your arms drop down by your side. Your body may be twitching. Your body may be moving. Your body may be stretching. Your body may be vibrating a little bit. Just let go into whatever needs to happen. This is your body getting so charged up that now it's ready to break down the defensive patterns that have been holding it stuck, repeating the same patterns over and over again. So follow your body's lead right now. Rather than trying to control the body, feel, experience what is the body doing and lean into that experience. Exaggerate that experience. It's like a dance, but in this dance now, instead of your mind leading your body, your mind is just going to follow the body's lead and step and move with the body. Now, when you're ready, go ahead and come back. Come back into your body, come back into the room. Feel the space around your body. Feel the air that fills up the room. Feel the space inside your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Allow yourself to just observe and to just feel. And go ahead and sit on up whenever you're ready. Come back to the computer. I'm going to go over a couple more things. And then we'll open this up to question and answer sessions. So if you had a good experience there, or if you had a bad experience, if you had any experience whatsoever, do me a favor, go ahead and type that into the chat, or you can tell us about it at the end, whichever you want to do. Whenever you share what's going on, not only do you help us to continue to improve what we're doing, but you also help everyone that is going through this with us. Okay, you're basically allowing other people to process information with your brain. The experiences that you have may get somebody thinking about something that they didn't necessarily notice or didn't think of before. The questions that you ask are going to be very beneficial because some of us wouldn't have even thought to answer that, to ask that question, but it's going to be really valuable in their lives. So you never know how far what you say or do is going to go in someone else's life. So if you don't want to share for yourself, then please share for others, even if it's just to help us to improve. So thank you so much. So After this, so one of the reasons that we breathe in the alternating nostrils is because each one of our nostrils stimulates a different portion of our brain. Now, most of our senses actually cross to the other side. So our sense of touch over here on this hand is actually going to be registered on this side of the brain. This eye is going to send a lot of information to the opposite side this ear. The nostrils, they're one of the only senses that actually affects the brain on the same side. So when we're alternating our two nostrils back and forth, what we're doing is we're charging up and we're stimulating each side of the brain so that as we get this going, it's like both sides of the brain are now firing like cylinders. Now we can get information to be processed across the entire brain rather than just one side hogging all the information and the other side being a little bit depressed. So I'm pretty sure it was on day 2 that we did the exercise. Maybe it was on day 1 in which we did the kind of, no, yeah, it was day 1 in which we did the cross crawl where we were getting both arms and legs in opposition to each other. And we were feeling through and breathing through and stretching through one leg moving forward while the opposite leg and the opposite arm was moving forward. That exercise, I want to do that exercise right now just to remind everybody, and we're going to tweak it up just a little bit for this stage itself and kind of add a little bit more of a charge to it. But that exercise is a really, really good one because that exercise also helps to balance out and make sure that both hemispheres of our brain are firing together. So see if I can turn this around so everybody can see me. And whenever I say turn it around, of course, what I mean is back it up. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to get into a lunge position. So we want one leg bent forward. We want the other leg to be straight out behind us. We want both heels on the ground. We want our front leg bent so that whenever we look over the front of the knee, we can see a little bit of our toes or a little bit of our toenails. So wherever that is for you, if you're here, that's okay. If you're way out here, that's okay. But what it needs to be is you need to have both heels on the ground and you need to be able to see the very tip of your toes whenever you look down, okay? So whatever leg is in front, so for me right now, my right leg is in front. Whatever leg is in front, the opposite arm is going to go in front. So if my right leg is in front, my left arm is now going to be in front, and my right arm is going to be back behind me. I'm going to have both of my hands palm down. My knee in front is going to stretch forward. My leg in the back is going to stretch back. My arms are going to stretch across. Whatever arm is in the front, I'm going to tilt my head like this so that I'm looking down my arm as if I'm sighting on a gun or a camera right in between these two fingers. I'm going to close my top eye so that I'm looking directly down my arm. And now while we're here, we're going to take a big deep breath in, and this time we're going to hold it. Big deep breath in, hold that breath, and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch until you can't hold the breath anymore. Stretch, 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 and release the breath. And now pivot. Turn to the exact opposite side. So whatever leg was in front before, the opposite leg is in front now. And that leg, the opposite arm is going to be now in front. So for right now, my left leg is in front. My right arm is going to be in front. My left arm is going to be backwards. Same thing. We're going to stretch forward and back with our legs. Stretch forward and back with our arms. We're going to tilt our head towards the shoulder that's in front. We're going to close our top eye. We're going to look down our arm. We're going to take a big deep breath in. Do that now. Take a big deep breath in. Hold that breath and then stretch. Stretch the arms away from each other. Stretch the legs away from each other. Stretch, hold that breath. Stretch and hold it. Stretch and hold it. Stretch and hold it. Stretch and hold it until you can't hold it anymore. And then let it go. And switch over to the other side. That's one round. We want to do 3 rounds of this. Stretching all the way out, legs and arms, tilting the head, closing the top eye, looking down the arm. Take a big deep breath in. Hold the breath and stretch. Hold the breath and stretch. Stretch with the legs, stretch with the arms, stretch with the neck, stretch and hold, stretch and hold, stretch and hold, stretch and hold, stretch and hold. And let it go. And back to the other side. We're halfway through this. Keep going. You're making a decision here. This is the choice point. Stretch the arms, stretch the legs, tilt the head, big deep breath in. Do that now. Hold the breath and stretch. Hold the breath and stretch. Hold the breath and stretch. Hold it and stretch. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it and stretch. Hold it and stretch. Don't let your body win. Stretch and hold, and let go. Last round. All the way into that first position. Tilt the head, look down the arms, close that top eye. Big deep breath in, all the way in. Hold it and stretch. 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 Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. And let go. Last one, we're almost there. All the way over, tilt the head, stretch the arms, palms down. Legs out in front, stretch the legs, stretch the arms, tilt the head, close the top eye, big deep breath in, all the way in, hold the breath and stretch, hold the breath and stretch, hold the breath and stretch, hold it, 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 and let it go. Now that was pretty intense. Keep going and relaxing that, okay? Just let go. Just allow yourself to be. Pay attention to what feels different in the space around you. Pay attention to what feels different in the space in you. Pay attention to that space of thinking. Pay attention to what the mind is doing right now. My bet is there's a bit of a peace and calm, a bit of a smoothness that was probably not there before. And if there's one thing that we need by going through all of this, it's going to be a foundation of peace, a foundation of calm, and a foundation of mental smoothness, because it is so easy for our mind to go into crazy town with all of the information that's flooding into our sphere of awareness about all the possible bad things that could be happening all around the world, with all of the people around the world that are so scared and so worried about what's going on. We need islands of peace. We need leaders who are willing to step up and say, yes, all of this is going on around me, but my worry, my stress, my fear is not going to do anything positive in this situation. It's only going to be my peace. It's only going to be my confidence. It's only going to be the calmness that I'm able to cultivate in my mind and in my heart that's going to get us through this with the most benefits on the other side. All right, but that is a choice. That is not something that is going to come easy for the vast majority of us. Now, maybe you're a Zen master. Maybe you have been practicing this for years and years. And if you have, thank you very, very much. We greatly appreciate your presence. Now we need more. Now we need you to step up even more. And if you're not good at this, don't worry. You are by far in the majority. No one is going to be looking down or judging on you on this. Everyone right now needs to be focused on developing and cultivating that in themselves, no matter where you are in this practice. So there's one other exercise that I would like to present you with. Now, my recommendation would be is that you write this down and then go do some research on this after we're done, because this is not my area of expertise. As a matter of fact, this is not even something that's been super beneficial to me, but I know people that it has been extremely beneficial in their life. So even though this is not necessarily my thing, I want you to be aware of it, so that if it is something that you feel helps you to make a big shift, that you can go research this and you can get a better explanation than I'm going to give you today, but I'm going to give you the basics. Okay. So I want you to write this down. And this technique, this tool is called EFT. And that stands for emotional freedom technique. Another name that it goes by is either tapping or the tapping solution. So if you Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever all the other search engines are. I'm not using Google too much anymore these days. But if you type that into just about any search engine, you'll see lots of tutorial videos. You'll see lots of information. There's actually been a few studies that have been published on this. It's really, really cool. But what it does is it helps to stimulate some of the acupuncture meridians so that we can accept what we're feeling and what's going on, but we can help the body to kind of get unstuck with that. Okay, so the first process in this is to accept that you are feeling or experiencing something that is disruptive in your life, something that's disrupting your peace, something that's disrupting your joy. And it'd be really beneficial if you could identify exactly where are you experiencing whatever it is. If you're feeling anxious, okay, where do you feel that anxiety? Identify that. That will really help out in this. Okay, the next step is once you've identified you are feeling something, to give that something a name. Doesn't matter what you call it. You could call it, squishy. You could call it anxiety. You could call it sharp. You could call it pain. You could call it burning, like whatever you want to call it. Okay, just give it some sort of name, some sort of descriptive name. And then the next step is to identify what would you like to feel. If you could feel this, it would make that totally and completely irrelevant. So if I'm feeling a bunch of fear, if I could feel courage, that would make the fear irrelevant. If I could feel knowing, if I could feel confidence, if I could feel curiosity, if I could feel bliss, if I could feel joy, that would make the fear irrelevant. So it wouldn't necessarily be there. Okay. And so what we're going to do is, again, identify what we're feeling and then identify what we want to feel. Okay. And as we go through this, we're going to stimulate these different points. The first point is on the very, very top of our head. And while we're going to stimulate the acupuncture meridians, not only through the tips of our fingers, but also through these spots. So we're going to take our fingers and kind of make them like a bird's beak. Beep, 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 beep. And then we're just going to tap on the spot at the very, very top of our head. And we're going to say, even though I feel, or even though I'm experiencing blank, I'll just use fear. Even though I'm feeling fear, I choose to experience joy. Even though I feel blank, I choose to experience joy. And we want to tap on these spots at least 7 to 14 times and repeat this saying, even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank, about 3 times. Okay. So the first spot is going to be on the very top of our head. The next spot is going to be right above our eyebrows. Even though I'm feeling blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I'm feeling fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I'm feeling fear, I choose to feel joy. And the next spot that we're going to do is going to be right on the sides. If you follow your eye back, okay, right over your temple. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. And now we're going to move right below our eyes, okay? Even though I feel, right on these bones right here. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Now we're going to do right above our lip, right up underneath our nose. Even though I choose to feel fear, even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Now, right on our chin, even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. Even though I feel fear, I choose to feel joy. And now we're going to go right below our collarbones. Okay. Now this one, you can do it on both sides like this, or you can kind of cross over, whichever one you want to do. Right up underneath our collarbones, you'll find a little tender spot. Actually, it was over that acupuncture point. Was it kidney 27 that we learned yesterday? Kidney 28, one of those two. Kidney 27. So tapping over here, even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now we're going to tap on our ribs, right a few ribs below our armpit, right over here. So a couple ribs below where our nipple is. We're going to reach over. Okay. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Okay. And then the last spot is going to be on one hand, and it's going to be our finger. So we're going to tap on the side of our thumb. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now on the side of our index finger, even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now we're going to tap on the side of our ring of our middle finger. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now I'm pretty sure you skip the ring finger. I don't think it's going to hurt you to do it, but I'm pretty sure that the protocol is actually skip the ring finger and then go to the pinky finger. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now the knife edge of your hand. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Even though I feel blank, I choose to feel blank. Now, there's a little bit more to that protocol, but this is a really good first start for you to just get into this concept of acknowledging what you're feeling and then choosing consciously to experience something else. So that's all I got for you for today. But I would really, really, really like to open this up to questions. So you can write those in the chat. We've got a Q&A session. I'm going to bring everybody's screen up online. And if you have a question or a comment or an experience, please, please, please consider sharing that now. Go ahead. And if you want to say something, just unmute yourself. I think that's everybody. And then Connie, if you would unmute yourself.
I unmuted myself, but it won't let me start video, but that's okay.
That's okay. And if, Connie, if you check into Facebook.
Yep, I've been on there.
If there's any.
I don't see any. The only question that was on there was earlier when we were doing SRI, and Tasha was asking about the spots, if they stay the same or change, and I told her they can stay the same or change, and she said hers have been staying the same.
Oh, the spots in SRI?
Yep.
Yeah. We always want to go with what is. Okay. Sometimes what is changes, fluctuates from day to day. Sometimes it'll stay the same for a little while. So there's not a right or wrong. There is what is in the moment. Over time, those spots will definitely change. But the amount of time it takes to make a significant change in those spots is totally different for different people. And it's totally different for the same individual at different times and stages in their lives. So if it's changed, great, just accept that and go with it. If it has not changed, great, accept it and go with it.
I have a question from the last, well, not the tapping, but the other exercise with the stretching.
Sure.
I noticed the other day when we did it that one of my sides, I guess this is really a good thing, but I can't remember which side it was when I had my right leg in front and my left arm in front on whatever that was, Monday, it was like harder for me to balance there. And then today it was like the opposite of that.
Yep. And that's because you're making changes.
Right?
So yeah, your body's adapting, it's shifting, it's it's growing, it's making changes. So fluctuations, as long as things are moving kind of back and forth between the different sides and between the different stages and between the different parts, we're doing pretty good, because nothing in life is the same. Right. Nothing in life is totally stable and consistent. There's always some fluctuations to it. So Connie, I would be more concerned if you did that yesterday or the other day and then had the same result today. Okay. Than I would be about it switching.
Awesome. That makes sense.
And it switching just means that there is, more balancing that needs to be done.
Well, and the other thing that was interesting was by the end of it today, I was balanced on both sides. It felt the same on both sides. Whereas on Monday, I still kind of struggled with unbalance on either side. So it got equal on the sides today.
I had a very similar experience with mine too.
Good. All right. So let's see. Sean is asking how much do these exercise, how much do you do these exercises? Twice a day, twice a week, etc. Sean, unfortunately, there is not a solid answer to that. If you were in some sort of rehab program, and you're really trying to make, some shifts due to an injury, I would say that there probably needs to be a little bit more frequency to this. If you're doing this on just a continual basis because you want to improve in your life and you want to keep things going forward, my suggestion would be to number one, get the book, The 12 Stages of Healing. Really understand, and we're going to have some more seminars based on this, but understand what each stage really entails and involves. And whenever you notice that you're struggling with one of those components of that stage, that would be the time that you do this. Or you can do this on a regular basis just because it helps to balance out your brain, and having a balanced brain is always a good thing. So I would think that you would have to do this an insane amount in a really, really crazy way to do any sort of damage to yourself. So these are healthy, beneficial improvement of functionality type exercises. They're not necessarily something that you need to follow a hard and fast rote plan. So play with this. The most important thing, especially in the beginning stages of all this, especially with what's going on in the world around us, the most important thing right now is to be lighthearted in life, not to take life so freaking seriously, because in the end, none of us are going to make it out alive. None of us are going to be that beautiful, perfectly functional corpse in the casket. All right. We're all going to get there, and we're all going to be messed up. All right. The question is how much enjoyment do you have of this process? How much joy and love can you spread and can you receive during this really crazy process that we call life? So unfortunately, Sean, there's not a hard and fast answer. So I can't really give that to you. I would need to know more of your individual circumstances. So my best suggestion, Sean, is do this on a somewhat frequent basis. Feel what it's like before and afterwards. And anytime that you want to feel that way, go ahead and do this exercise. All right. Let's see. Joby Wan. How's it going, buddy? You said the exercise that we did last night, and we worked a little bit on. So one of the things that we're doing for the members of Organic Living Chiropractic, and if you'd like to become a member, go ahead and send us a message on our Facebook page or email us, and we'll give you details about how to do that. But what we're doing for our members right now that we're closed physically and cannot do physical adjustments except for on an emergency basis, we're doing some exercises with people similar to the SRI, similar to these different stages of exercise, but targeted with what's going on around them to help them make progress and move through whatever they're going through, whatever's keeping them stuck, whatever there's keeping them from being able to experience the full joy of being alive in these crazy times. So Joe, I'm so glad that what we did last night helped. And I'm so glad that you were able to sleep afterwards. And yes, you're supposed to be very sore in the morning because your body was working really, really hard. And whenever our body is working hard to hold us into a particular position, and then we let go of that, not only are we going to be working brand new parts of us, which are going to get sore, but we're also going to start to register in our brain, wow, the way I was holding myself, that worked out my muscles so hard, and they really need a rest. So soreness, stiffness, and achiness can very much be a part of the healing process. There is nothing wrong with sore, stiff, and achy. Whenever it gets to be more intense than that, that's whenever we can say, okay, something's interfering with the healing process. But yeah, nothing is wrong with sore, stiff, and achy when our body is making an intelligent change. So any other questions out there?
Barbara has her hand up.
Yes,
Yeah.
Barbara.
Well, just wanted to share my experience first. Like on the SRI exercise, like the parts were more uniform, and I think it's because we had a session yesterday.
Good.
And then what I noticed, like I actually allowed my body to move, and it was like a yoga posture.
Yes.
Yes. Where like my hip went up, and what the interesting part is like this, what I sensed was like before I was afraid to like stretch.
Yes.
Like I felt like I was going to hurt myself somewhere like in the area of my belly bottom. And now that's why like this time it moved actually, so it's good.
Yeah.
I stretch. And it's also tied with the other exercise when I was switching. I think it's the left leg in front.
Uh-huh.
I also felt that stretch kind of on the left side, on, you know, next to my belly button. So I wonder what is that area, because it seems like it really needs well, not attention, but
Yeah, and you said it's on the front, kind
on
of
the front,
between the leg and the belly button, around that area.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be your hip flexor. The hip flexor is made up of two main muscles. And them together is called the iliopsoas. And this muscle is commonly referred to the muscle of the soul. This muscle is the most emotionally reactive muscle of the body. The second most is this SCM muscle right over here. So there's more defensiveness stored in these two muscles than anywhere else in the body. And there's a reason for that. Biologically and biomechanically, whenever our body gets into an extreme state of fear that it's going to be attacked, we have no bony covering here, but there's some vital centers. If this gets injured, it's going to be lights out really quickly. The other area is this area right over here, our belly. If this gets injured, then it's going to be lights out very quickly. So these two areas, because there's no bony covering and there's very, very vital centers, the body wants to protect these centers the most. And that's why we get into this fetal position where our neck comes down, our arms come in, this muscle right here pulls this area together, but our hip flexor down here also pulls this area closed and pulls our legs up. So not only are these very, very emotionally related muscles, and the reason that they're emotionally related is the brain does not know the difference between what happens outside the body and what happens inside the body. So if the cells of the body say the body is not safe, something's wrong, the brain just goes physical protection, physical protection. So our brain cannot know that something like heartbreak or something like fear of your boss yelling at you, when the cells say, oh no, something bad's about to happen, the body just goes protect, 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 protect. So these muscles right here are very reactive to anything that's perceived as a threat. And that includes feelings, emotions, and chemicals around us. Now, because most of us have not been supported in being able to dive in and shed all of our own emotional trauma, much less all the emotional trauma that we inherited through our society, through our family, through our genes and our ancestors. So these muscles for most of us are very chronically tight. On top of that, we sit a lot in our society. So we're constantly flexing these muscles forward and we're just hanging out over here. So for most of us, our hip flexors are way, way shorter and chronically tight than is beneficial for our body. Now, once we get this energy, once we get this information moving throughout our body, we've acknowledged that we're stuck. We acknowledge that we're bound up, and we make a choice to move through that no matter what. Then our body can start opening up. It can start changing the way that it's holding ourselves. And when we get into certain postures, we're going to start to recognize, now that the energy is flowing, now that our brain can perceive the need for change is necessary, we're going to start recognizing those areas and how tight they are. So, Barbara, I know that was a little bit long-winded, but did that answer your question?
It does, because then I also got memories of, well, I'll share very quickly. Like, I think like I had a pet, a little dog, when I was very little, and it died.
Yes.
And it's like I connected that this morning, and I know what you just said about being supported with this emotional, as a kid, probably, you know, you just don't understand how like the dog died. You know?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
that's absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dad.
whenever I was a massage therapist working on the muscle and the flexor muscle, that was the most common way that people would start crying or start screaming or get angry or start laughing or whatever else was going on. Not those. Sorry, my daughter's getting berries. Berries right now are one of the best things that you can do for immune system, especially staining berries like blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. Okay, because they're delicious, but really the dark staining berries, that's one of those things that we really want to get to. Zoe, in the white bowl on near the sink. Look at the sink, white bowl. There you go. There we go. So eat your berries, give berries to your kids. Leafy green vegetables is another one. Mushrooms, I'm eating mushrooms almost every meal that I can add them in for a lot of different reasons, but now is the time to use them. So does anybody else have any other questions, have any other thoughts, have any other comments?
I love berries.
Yes, I love berries too.
Elderberry syrup or elderberry supplements?
Yep, Sambuca, elderberry. I know there's a lot of information going around on the internet about, what is it? It's a specific type of inflammatory something storm. Oh man, that word has totally left my brain right now. This is not something I would be too concerned about with elderberry or with Sambuca, which is basically elderberry syrup. You would already have to be immunocompromised to have an extreme reaction to elderberries like that. So I would not necessarily worry too much about that. And the advice that I've been giving people that are scared of this is take your elderberry syrup, give it to your kids. But the second that you notice them starting to get sick, if you're really concerned about them having, too much inflammation going on, then just stop the syrup. All right, everybody, unless there's anything else, Connie, there's nothing else on Facebook.
I just saw something pop up. I was just,
all right.
Let's see. Cytokine, Cytokine.
Cytokine, yes, thank you. Whoever wrote that in, a cytokine storm. A cytokine is a chemical produced by the body that helps out the immune system to identify and to attack things that it doesn't want or doesn't need inside the body. So cytokines are very, very important whenever you are actually fighting an infection. And elderberry syrup does increase the amount of cytokines, but with the COVID-19, some of the problems that people are having is the COVID is causing too many cytokines. And so it's causing too much inflammation in certain areas. But remember, the people that are really affected by the COVID-19, they already have immunocompromisation. They are already unhealthy. So this is a principle to take hold of and to bring this into the future is if you are healthy, if you are constantly improving your health, if you are doing many things in your life to improve your functionality, you're not going to have to be scared of stuff like this. Our body is designed, our body has evolved to be able to fight off pathogens, even stuff like COVID-19 that the human body has not seen before this for whatever reason. That's a whole nother topic. But if you are focused on health, if you are focusing on functionality, you're not going to need to be scared of disease. You're not going to be scared of germs or pathogens. So this is what we specialize in here at Organic Chiropractic, is improving your health, improving your functionality, improving your whole state of well-being, more than just the function of your body. And the more functional you are, the less of a concern you need to have about when your body experiences stress. So, anything else? Nope. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We really, really appreciate you. As always, please share this Facebook video. Please share the link to these daily webinars that we've sent you in your email. Forward those emails to as many people as you think would benefit from this. We all need to stay connected. We all need to stay informed. We all need to stay thriving. And if we're thriving, survival is not an issue. All right. I love everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh yeah. Tonight's talk. Remind everybody.
Oh yeah. Tonight's talk is all about how to love yourself. So by all means, tune in, enjoy that, love yourselves, love your family,